Hello everyone, in this video we are going to see the unipolar PWM technique for the inverters. So basically what we are doing in this is we need two reference wave and one carrier wave, as you can see from here figure. So basically this part of the circuit we are going to simulate in MATLAB, and how we are going to do this is, so we will see how the operation of this unipolar PWM technique is there. So basically first of all I will just number the switches. This is 1, this is 3, this is I think 4, let's see, this is 4, yes, and this is 2. Now how this PWM technique works. So I need the unipolar. What is the meaning of unipolar? That it is on the one edge, like if our this voltage is considered to be VD. So for unipolar it should be 0 or VD or 0 or minus VD. Our pulse should not be minus VD to plus VD, otherwise it will become bipolar. So how we can generate this as 0 and VD, like here is 0 and here is our VD. How we can generate this? Or we can generate 0 and minus VD. So for generating 0 voltage, what we have to do is we have to conduct, we have to make our system, our switches to conduct in what fashion? First think, what will happen? If we make our switches to conduct 1 and 4 together, what will happen? It will make our DC voltage to be direct short circuit. No. We don't want like this. It should operate like if we want 0 voltage, our switch 1 and switch 3 should be conducting at the same time for making our system, for giving this output as our 0 volt. Because let us consider this is our A and this is our B and this is our B. So if we want plus VD, like in previous case what we was doing, if we need this voltage at the load side, we have to operate first one and second one, then we can get our VD across our load resistor. And if we need minus VD, what we have to do is we have to operate 3 and 4 like it was operating in complementary fashion. But in this case we want 0 voltage also should be appear. So for making that 0, we want that one switch and third one should operate together. If this and this will operate together, what will happen? This will become direct short circuit. See what we can see, this and this will become direct short circuit because this switch will directly conduct and this switch will directly conduct. So what voltage will appear across load? It will be across 0 volts. So that's why we can, if T1 T3 will conduct, it will give 0 volts. If T1 T2 will conduct, it will give VD volts. If 2 and 4 will conduct, it will give 0 volts. If 3 and 4 will conduct, it will give minus VD volts. In this way our switch operation is being conducted. So now what is there is, so here what we are operating, like previous case, when the reference become greater than carrier, we will generate some pulse. This is our VG1. So this will become our VG1, and when this reference become greater than our carrier in this negative half, we will generate some pulse, that is VG3. Now what will happen is, this and this pulse is there. Now if we subtract it, see some part is there that will common, see some part is there that will be common. We can see if we subtract it like this, so this part will get subtracted, so this part will come and this side will come. We can see clearly in another one. See VAN, if you see a VAN, how VAN is coming. See, first of all, if we are having VD here, we can use one single capacitor right here at the input side, or we can use our 2 input capacitor where one that between point is our end point. Okay, this is my end point. So this end part, like VAN, this voltage is this one. Okay, and then VBN, this VBN, when this one and switch 2 are conducting, then this part will conduct, then this is our part. Now what will happen here is, see this small part will appear across here, see VA minus VB, this pulse, then again we can see this part will appear. So when we join this, we will see that area is increasing and it becomes our sine wave, because inverter operation is to convert DC into AC. It became our sine wave. We can see it from here. Now what we want, see sine wave. Now what we want here is, like we want to check whether our system, whether this unipolar is better than bipolar or not. See, number of pulses become double as compared to bipolar. So we can easily say that unipolar become better than our bipolar technique. Also what happens here is our harmonics which exist in this case, what will happen is, see harmonics are like it is existing near 2 mF and then it will exist around 3 mF, like this when harmonics are there. So like in previous case what we have considered is, in this case harmonics will be shifted to the higher order. So what will happen with this is, total harmonic distortion will reduce. So with this, it becomes better than that part. Also in this, what will happen is voltage stress across each switch. See, when this switch is off, what is the voltage across this switch is, that is plus Vs only. Whereas in previous case, the voltage stress across each switch will be minus Vs to plus Vs, that will be 2 Vs. So we have to buy from market the switch that can block the voltage of 2 Vs instead of Vs. So that will increase our cost also. So we can easily say our unipolar PWM technique is much more better than the bipolar technique. Now let's go and make this in simulation. So this part of the circuit we have already made in the bipolar technique. So without wasting any time, what we can do is easily modify this full circuit. So basically, first I will say what parameters I have taken for considering our bipolar parameters, bipolar technique. First of all, I have taken this voltage source as our 100 volts and resistor as our 10 ohms. And these all are my IGBTs/diodes, and in this pulses I have given from block, that is 1, this is 2, and this is our 3, and this is my 4, and this pulses I have fed from here. So this is our PWM technique. This was our bipolar PWM technique. Now what we want is to generate our unipolar PWM technique. So I have to just modify this part. Now let's see how we can modify this part. Okay, so first of all I need one sine wave, because we already know that we want two sine waves, one and another one is the inverse of that sine wave. So I need one more sine wave, so I will take one more sine wave here. Now what I will do is I have to compare this sine wave with the above part. Again I have to take this sine wave, and first of all I will just make this as inverse, that is opposite. So for that I need the phase of that to be 180 degrees. Okay, so I'll just put it as my pi, that becomes 180 degrees out of phase. And then I will just compare this, and I will put here one NOT gate, so that, yeah, I'll just put one here NOT gate. So now how I have to feed this pulse, we will see. So this one also I will just remove from scratch. I will just make this part. So we already know this part is already same. This is amplitude is 1, frequency is in radians per second, that is 2 pi into 50, and sampling time is 0, and phase radians is 0. And this also we have considered as our 400, that is 1 by 400 we have done, that is our 100 hertz of carrier frequency. Now after comparing this, we will just feed our pulses. That is first one, when sine wave become greater than our carrier wave, it will feed pulse to the S1, this switch. Now second one to the NOT gate, that is switch 4. I need to operate this switch. Okay, now I will just feed it here to switch 4. I'm sorry, 1 minute. Yeah, it's fine. Switch 4. Then I need to feed this to switch number 3. Where is switch number 3? It is here. I just need to put it here as switch number 3, and then this is switch 4. Now this is fine. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just take one in mux. I'll just consider it as 3 inputs. First one I'll put it here for the sine wave, first one. Second one I will just put it here, another sine one, and third one I will put it here as my triangular wave. I'll just try to run this model, and 1 minute. I'll just take one more thing. I'll just put it here, one scope. It will come here as a 2. Okay, we'll do it at the end. First see how it is operating. Okay, I'll just delete this model. Okay, let's see how it is operating. Yeah, this is run. Now we can see it here separately. I'll just make this 3 separate inputs. 3. No, sorry, I'm so sorry. We have to just make it 1 only, because we have to just see 2 sine and 1 carrier in a single one. So I'll just make it little zoom so that we can easily see what is happening here. Yeah, perfect. So what is here is one sine is there, another sine is inverse of that, and this is our carrier wave. This is fine. Now I need to see the how our pulses are generating with this. Now that big scope which I have taken is, first one I will feed it here, because reference wave and the carrier wave is compared, and it is generating our pulse. Now the pulses how I will feed it here is, first one to this one, and then wait, I will just make it 4. Or I can make this as 3 also. Let's see if it's required, we can make it afterwards. We can put here in another part here. This one we can put. Now let's see in our scope by making this as 3. This is 3, that is fine. Where is that part? Yes, this is here. This we need to select as 3. Now again I will run this model. Now we need to just little bit zoom it, and we can see the pulses how it is generating. Okay, now we can see the pulses how they are generating. 1 minute, I'll zoom it properly. Yeah, so what is happening here is, if reference become greater than carrier, it is generating some pulse. See this and this, it is generating some pulse. Here also see, if reference become greater than carrier, it is generating some pulse, this and this. So this is a kind of pulse generation technique which is implemented in this part. And then at the output I am getting from 0 to 100 volts. No, here I'm getting, see, yes, I'm getting here 0 to 100 volts. So that is correct. So this is basically our unipolar PWM technique, how we can implement this technique in MATLAB. Thank you for watching this video.